Sunscreen seems essential, protection from skin cancer, aging, and burns. Some brands hide dangers behind SPF promises, from toxic chemicals banned in Europe to carcinogenic contaminants found by FDA testing. What you rub on your skin enters your bloodstream. Today, we're exposing 9 sunscreen brands you should avoid at all costs, and the 2 that are actually safe for your health and peace of mind. Coming in at number 9, Banana Boat, a household name promising tropical protection and family-friendly fun. The bright yellow bottle covered in playful graphics sits on every drugstore shelf, familiar as summer itself. For generations, families reached for this brand without a second thought. It was the sunscreen your parents used, the one you remembered from childhood beach trips, the familiar smell of vacation and carefree days. That trust ran deep, built over decades of advertising and positive associations. But in 2021, benzene, a known carcinogen classified by the International Agency for Research on Cancer as a Group 1 carcinogen, was detected in multiple Banana Boat aerosol sunscreens during independent lab testing conducted by Valisure, an analytical pharmacy. Not just trace amounts, significant concentrations that triggered nationwide alarm. Some samples tested as high as 6 parts per million, which is 12 times higher than the FDA's temporary guidance limit of 2 parts per million for benzene in hand sanitizers that was established during the pandemic. The company recalled certain batches, yet many remained on shelves for months after the initial discovery. Walk into any store that summer, and you could still find contaminated bottles waiting for unsuspecting buyers. The recall was voluntary, not mandatory. Distribution channels moved slowly. Inventory kept selling. Consumers kept buying, kept applying, kept absorbing benzene, often completely unaware of the recall. The news coverage was minimal. Most people never heard about it. They saw the familiar yellow bottle and trusted it as they always had, reaching for it automatically during checkout, tossing it in the beach bag without reading. Recall notices they never saw. Seniors already face higher skin cancer risk. Your skin thins with age, becomes more vulnerable, loses the protective barrier function it had in youth. The epidermis, your outermost skin layer, can thin by up to 50% between ages 20 and 80, according to research published in the Journal of Dermatological Science. And benzene exposure can damage bone marrow where your blood cells are produced, suppress immune function that's already declining with age, and increase leukemia risk at levels far lower than what showed up in testing. Benzene is particularly insidious because it attacks the cells that produce your blood. For those on blood thinners like warfarin or clopidogrel, or immune-suppressing medications after organ transplants, or for autoimmune conditions like rheumatoid arthritis or lupus, absorption through skin compounds the danger exponentially. The contamination enters directly into your circulatory system through aging, permeable skin that no longer provides the barrier protection of younger years. Your thin skin becomes a highway for toxic absorption, delivering carcinogens straight to your bloodstream with frightening efficiency. The cheerful yellow bottle promised carefree days outdoors, beach walks with grandchildren collecting shells, gardening without worry about sun damage, protection you could trust for decades of use. The brand built its reputation on family moments and sun safety, on enabling the outdoor lifestyle doctors recommend for healthy aging. What actually soaked into your skin could betray that trust in the worst way, undermining the very health practices you maintained so carefully. Your cells absorbing poison while you believed you were practicing good health habits, following medical advice, protecting yourself responsibly. The spray felt cool and light against warm skin, created that satisfying mist that seemed to evaporate instantly. It smelled like coconut and vacation memories, like summers past and family gatherings at the shore. The aerosol produced a fine cloud that settled evenly, seemed to disappear into your skin without residue or sticky feeling. And beneath that pleasant sensory experience, beneath the familiar fragrance and convenient application, carcinogens penetrated your largest organ with every spray, every application, every trip outdoors. The brand you remembered from childhood, that your own parents used on you at the beach, that felt like tradition and safety, now linked to the exact cancers sunscreen is supposed to prevent. At number 8, we have Neutrogena Ultra Sheer. Dermatologist recommended, lightweight, trusted by millions of consumers who follow their doctor's advice. The clinical white packaging with blue accents suggests medical expertise, doctor-approved protection you can count on. The brand built its reputation on dermatological partnerships and clinical studies. When your dermatologist hands you a recommendation list, Neutrogena often tops it. That medical association creates powerful trust, the belief that if doctors recommend it, it must be safe. Yet FDA testing revealed that this brand also contained traces of benzene contamination in aerosol formulas. The very product dermatologists suggested for daily use turned out to harbor the same toxic threat as discount brands. Multiple batches tested positive across different product lines. The contamination was not isolated to one production run or one manufacturing facility. It appeared systemic, a problem with the aerosol delivery system or the propellant chemicals used. Neutrogena's promise of of sheer, invisible protection masked a chemical nightmare that consumers couldn't see, smell, or detect. The formula absorbed quickly into skin, left no white cast that made you look ghostly, felt like nothing on your skin within minutes of application. That invisibility, marketed as a feature and convenience, extended to the contaminants you couldn't see or smell or taste. The benzene had no warning signs, no sensory clues to alert you to danger. Seniors applying this daily, especially on thinning, aging skin where the dermis has lost collagen and elasticity, absorb contaminants more readily than younger users whose skin still maintains robust barrier function. According to research published in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology, aged skin can show up to 30% increased absorption rates for certain chemicals compared to young adult skin. Your skin becomes more permeable, more vulnerable, more likely to allow chemicals to pass through and enter your bloodstream. This is why skin patches for medication delivery work better on older adults, and why toxic absorption is more dangerous for seniors. Blood pressure medications like AC inhibitors and diuretics that many seniors take daily, kidney function already declining with age at a rate of about 1% per year after 40, these can be compromised when toxic chemicals enter the bloodstream day after day, accumulating over months and years. Your kidneys work harder to filter out what shouldn't be there, what they were never designed to handle in those quantities or that frequency. Your liver processes toxins it was never meant to encounter in daily skincare products. The metabolic burden increases. The organ stress compounds. The brand's clinical, trustworthy packaging made you believe you were making a safe choice, the smart choice, the choice your doctor would approve of. The pharmacy displays it next to medical supplies and prescription medications, reinforcing that healthcare association, that belief in professional oversight and safety standards. But behind the white cap and blue label, invisible threats lingered in every spray. The texture felt professional, almost medicinal in its lightness and quick absorption. The scent was minimal, clinical, unlike the tropical fragrances of beach brands. Everything about the experience suggested medical-grade protection. The reality was anything but. The dermatologist recommendation that drove your purchase, that made you trust implicitly, was based on formulation promises that didn't account for manufacturing contamination. Now at number 7, CVS Health Sunscreen. Store brand affordability and convenience. Sitting right next to your prescriptions at the pharmacy counter where you wait for medications, where you trust the products. Carry healthcare standards. The red CVS logo symbolizes healthcare in American culture. The same brand that fills your medications and provides health services and flu shots. Surely their store brand sunscreen meets the same safety standards as their pharmacy operations. Surely products sold in a pharmacy undergo extra scrutiny. But in 2021, CVS recalled several sunscreen products due to benzene contamination discovered in independent testing. The recall affected multiple products and SPF levels in their store brand line. The recall notices posted quietly in stores, small printed sheets near the sunscreen aisle, easily missed among the bright product displays and promotional signs. Many customers never saw them, never knew their purchased product was contaminated, never thought to check recall lists for something as basic as sunscreen. Bottles kept selling until inventory ran out naturally. No mandatory pull from shelves, no proactive customer notification beyond those easy-to-miss store posters. Seniors on fixed incomes often choose store brands to save money, stretching retirement dollars to cover medications and healthcare costs and basic needs. They trust that pharmacy-associated products meet safety standards, believe the CVS Health branding means healthcare quality at a lower price point. That trust represents a sacred contract, an assumption that health before profit guides pharmacy retailers. Instead, they got carcinogenic exposure at a discount price, contamination packaged as value. For those managing diabetes with medications that affect circulation and healing, heart disease requiring multiple daily medications that stress the liver and kidneys, or undergoing cancer treatment where every chemical exposure matters enormously, adding a known carcinogen to daily skincare is a hidden assault on an already vulnerable system. Chemotherapy patients using sunscreen to protect radiation-damaged skin that's hypersensitive and burns easily. Heart patients following doctor's orders to avoid sun exposure that could interact with medications. Diabetics with compromised circulation and delayed healing applying sunscreen during walks their doctors recommend for blood sugar control. All of them absorbing benzene through their skin while trying to follow medical advice. The generic label and low price suggested value and safety, practical protection without the brand name markup. What you actually got was betrayal wrapped in budget-friendly packaging and pharmacy association. The bottles felt lighter, thinner plastic that saved manufacturing costs. The formula, perhaps slightly greasier than premium brands, took longer to absorb, left a slight sheen on skin. But it did the job. or so it seemed. The SPF rating matched expensive brands. The pharmacy setting provided reassurance. Until independent testing revealed what CVS didn't disclose, what their quality control missed or ignored. The convenience of grabbing sunscreen with your prescriptions, one-stop shopping for healthcare needs, became a risk factor. The very place you trusted for health products sold you a contaminated one, placed it right next to the medication counter where trust is implicit and assumed. Most people never learn which chemicals to watch for, which ingredients signal danger, which manufacturing processes create contamination risk. But we'll break it down at the very end of the video. The ingredient lists that hide danger in plain sight, the terms that sound scientific but signal contamination risk, the manufacturing red flags that most consumers never recognize. Stick with us because knowledge is your best protection. Information is power. Understanding is safety. Coming in at number 6, Coppertone Sport. Active seniors love this one. Reach for it automatically when planning outdoor activities. The orange and blue packaging radiates energy and athleticism, suggests vitality and active lifestyles, appeals to seniors who refuse to slow down. Sweat-resistant, water-resistant, perfect for golf outings or beach walks, or the gardening sessions that last hours in full sun. The formula promised to stay put through exertion and moisture. Protection that works as hard as you do, that doesn't quit when you start sweating. Marketing emphasized endurance, reliability, performance under stress. Athletes used it. Active families trusted it. Outdoor enthusiasts relied on it. But Coppertone Sport aerosols were found to contain benzene as well, joining the growing list of contaminated brands. Tests revealed contamination across multiple product lines and SPF levels. The sport formula, the kids formula, various sizes and scents. Benzene appeared consistently across the product range, suggesting a manufacturing or ingredient sourcing problem that affected the entire brand. The brand marketed itself as rugged, reliable, athlete-approved protection, the choice of people who take outdoor activities seriously. Olympic swimmers endorsed it. Professional golfers used it visibly during tournaments. The athletic associations created powerful messaging, the belief that if elite athletes trust it, it must be top quality. What they didn't advertise was contamination that could seep into your bloodstream during your morning walk, your afternoon tennis match, your weekend fishing trip on the lake. Every application, every activity, every moment you thought you were protecting yourself from sun damage. Seniors with compromised liver or kidney function cannot filter toxins as efficiently as younger adults whose organs still function at peak capacity. According to the National Institute on Aging, kidney function naturally declines by about 1% per year after age 40. By 70, your kidneys may operate at only 60 to 65% of youthful capacity. By 80, function can drop to 50% or lower. This means toxins stay in your system longer, accumulate more readily, cause more damage before being cleared. Your liver similarly declines, processes medications and toxins more slowly, becomes more vulnerable to chemical stress. Every application became a gamble without you knowing the dice were loaded against you. The sporty scent smelled fresh and energizing, like chlorine and summer and athletic achievement. The formula felt thick and substantial, more viscous than regular sunscreens, suggesting serious protection for serious activity. It didn't absorb instantly like lightweight formulas. It sat on your skin briefly, white and visible, then rubbed into a slightly glossy finish that looked like you'd applied protection. The orange and blue packaging screamed energy and trust, vitality and reliability, the promise that you could maintain your active lifestyle safely. But the formula whispered danger with every pump, every spray, every confident application before heading outdoors for activities you loved. You felt protected. You felt smart about sun safety. You were actually at risk. The active lifestyle you maintained for your health, the outdoor exercise your doctor recommended for heart health and bone density and mental well-being, all of it potentially compromised by the very product meant to make it safer, meant to enable outdoor activity without consequence. Isn't it strange how billion-dollar sunscreen companies keep having benzene recalls, yet their products are still on every drugstore shelf, still being advertised on television, still recommended by professionals? Drop your thoughts below. Have you found contaminated products still being sold months after recalls? Have stores told you about the recalls when you tried to buy these products? Share your experience and help other viewers stay informed. Number 5 on our list. Hawaiian Tropic. Island vibes, coconut scent, vacation in a bottle that transports you to paradise. The packaging features palm trees and beaches, sunset colors, and tropical imagery, promises paradise with every application. That tropical fragrance hits you the moment you twist open the cap, sweet and summery and nostalgic, instantly transporting you to warmer places and happier times. The scent alone sold millions of bottles, became iconic in sunscreen culture, synonymous with beach days and summer fun. People bought it just for that smell, that sensory experience that triggered vacation memories. But several Hawaiian tropic aerosol sunscreens tested positive for benzene contamination in the same independent testing that caught other major brands. Independent labs found it across multiple product lines. Consumer advocacy groups confirmed it in their own testing. The Paradise Promise had a toxic undercurrent flowing beneath the tropical marketing and nostalgic fragrance. The tropical fragrance masked a toxic reality that consumers couldn't detect without laboratory equipment. That coconut smell, carefully engineered by fragrance chemists to trigger positive associations and vacation memories and summer nostalgia, became a delivery system for carcinogens. The scent distracted from the contamination, made the product pleasant to use, encouraged repeated application. Seniors drawn to the nostalgic scent and affordable price, remembering Hawaiian tropic from their younger years, from family vacations decades ago, unknowingly absorbed carcinogens during every beach outing or backyard gardening session. The familiar fragrance from decades past, unchanged and comforting and reliable, now tainted by contamination that never should have reached consumer shelves. The smell triggered memories of safety and fun, while the formula delivered risk. For those taking medications that increase sun sensitivity, like certain blood pressure drugs such as hydrochlorothiazide that makes skin more vulnerable to UV damage, or antibiotics like doxycycline commonly prescribed for skin infections and respiratory issues, or even some diabetes medications like glyburide, the combination of chemical exposure and medication interaction creates compounded risk that doctors never warned about, that most prescribing information doesn't mention specifically. Your medication makes you more vulnerable to sun damage, so your doctor tells you to use sunscreen diligently, to reapply frequently, to apply liberally. So you follow orders carefully. You apply more sunscreen, more frequently, more areas of exposed skin. And with each conscientious application, more benzene enters your system. The irony is brutal. The attempt to follow medical advice becomes the vehicle for toxic exposure. Your medication-induced photosensitivity combined with contaminated sunscreen creates a perfect storm of risk. The formula felt luxurious for a drugstore brand, almost lotion-like in texture, nothing like the thick paste of old-fashioned zinc oxide sunscreens that left you looking ghostly. It spread easily, absorbed reasonably well, left skin feeling moisturized rather than dried out. It smelled like vacation and youth, and simpler times when you didn't worry about cancer and contamination, when sunscreen just meant preventing burns, when trust in consumer products felt justified. The palm tree logo and breezy marketing promised paradise and protection, nostalgia and safety, the ability to enjoy the sun without consequences. What you rubbed on your skin was closer to poison disguised with fragrance and fond memories and tropical imagery. The sensory experience designed to comfort you, to make sun protection pleasant instead of a chore, became the vehicle for contamination. The marketing that made you feel good about your purchase, that triggered happy memories and positive associations, masked a reality that independent testing finally exposed. Want to stay ahead of hidden health dangers and toxic ingredients lurking in everyday products? Hit subscribe now so you don't miss the facts that could protect your skin and your life, could spare you from contaminated products, could help you make informed decisions. These exposés take serious research, require digging through lab reports and recall notices and scientific studies that most people never see. Your subscription helps us keep bringing you the truth that corporations would rather you never discovered. At number 4, Sunbum. Trendy, millennial favorite branding that feels fun and safe and socially responsible. The playful name, the bright packaging with cartoon sun characters and beach vibes, the whole vibe screams beach culture and laid-back California lifestyle, appeals to younger consumers who care about ingredients and environment. It feels modern, responsible, eco-conscious in a way older brands don't, like a company that actually cares about more than profits. The packaging even claims reef safe, suggesting environmental awareness and careful formulation, suggesting the brand thinks beyond immediate profits to long-term planetary health. If they care about coral reefs, surely they care about human health too. But testing revealed that Sunbum aerosol sunscreens also contained benzene, joining the contaminated brands list despite the eco-friendly marketing and modern image. The fun branding couldn't hide the contamination that independent testing detected. Multiple batches across different SPF levels showed positive results for the carcinogen, suggesting systemic problems rather than isolated manufacturing errors. The playful packaging and reef-safe claims made it seem like a responsible, modern choice, the kind of brand younger generations trust and recommend to their parents and grandparents. The environmental consciousness suggested superior values, careful sourcing, ethical manufacturing. Younger family members bought it and recommended it enthusiastically, believing they'd found a better alternative to the chemical-heavy brands of previous generations. Seniors buying for grandkids or themselves trusted the eco-friendly image, the claims of protecting coral reefs and marine ecosystems, the suggestion of corporate responsibility. If they cared that much about ocean health, if they reformulated specifically to avoid harming coral, surely they cared about human health too. Surely that environmental consciousness extended to consumer safety. But carcinogenic contamination doesn't care about branding or environmental marketing or trendy packaging design or social media presence. It enters your system regardless of how socially responsible the label appears, regardless of the reef-safe claims or the playful cartoon mascots. Benzene doesn't discriminate based on brand values or corporate messaging. For older adults with a history of skin cancer or precancerous lesions, actinic keratoses that require regular monitoring and sometimes treatment with liquid nitrogen, every spray added risk on top of existing vulnerability. You've already had suspicious spots removed, already had that scare when the dermatologist said we need to biopsy this, already been told to be vigilant about sun exposure and to check your skin monthly for changes. So you carefully apply sunscreen, follow doctor's orders religiously, use protection during every outdoor exposure. And the product you trusted to prevent recurrence contained a chemical linked to blood cancers, to leukemia, to bone marrow damage. The brand marketed as safer, more conscious, more responsible, turned out to carry the same contamination risk as conventional brands. The bright colors and cheeky name suggested carefree protection, young and fun and harmless. A lighter approach to sun safety that didn't feel medical or scary. The vibe was beach party, not cancer prevention. The invisible benzene suggested something far more sinister, a betrayal of the very consumers most desperate for safe protection, most vulnerable to contamination consequences, most trusting of brands that claimed superior values. The modern packaging and environmental claims created a halo effect, made you believe this brand was different, better, more careful. The contamination testing proved otherwise. The eco-friendly image didn't extend to manufacturing processes or quality control or protecting consumers from carcinogenic exposure. Coming in at number 3, Walgreens Continuous Spray Sunscreen, another pharmacy store brand that seemed safe, convenient, and budget-friendly, another product sold alongside medications and health supplies. The Walgreens logo carries the same healthcare association as CVS, that pharmacy trust factor built over decades. You pick up prescriptions filled by licensed pharmacists, buy health supplies like blood pressure monitors and diabetic testing strips, purchase over-the-counter medications that underwent FDA approval, all supposedly vetted by pharmacists and regulatory standards. Surely their sunscreen meets those same rigorous requirements. Surely a pharmacy chain wouldn't sell dangerous products right next to prescription medications. But Walgreens recalled multiple sunscreen sprays in 2021 due to benzene detection found in independent laboratory testing. The recall affected numerous products and SPF levels across their store brand line. The contamination was widespread across their sunscreen offerings, not limited to one product or formulation. Seniors picking up prescriptions often grab sunscreen at the same counter, adding it to their pharmacy basket along with medications and vitamins and other health products. The convenience feels efficient, the one-stop shopping for healthcare needs. They assume, reasonably, that a pharmacy wouldn't sell something dangerous, that products sold in healthcare settings undergo extra scrutiny, that the pharmacy association itself provides quality assurance. That assumption represented decades of trust in pharmaceutical retail, belief in regulatory oversight, faith that healthcare-associated businesses prioritize safety over profits. That trust was shattered by contamination testing, by recalls that many customers never heard about, by the discovery that pharmacy settings offer no protection against manufacturing failures. For those on chemotherapy facing skin sensitivity from radiation treatment that makes sun exposure dangerous and painful, or taking immunosuppressants after organ transplants that make infection risk higher, or managing chronic kidney disease that reduces toxin clearance capacity. Absorbing even trace amounts of benzene can trigger severe health consequences that compound existing medical challenges. Cancer patients already fighting for their lives, already dealing with nausea and fatigue and compromised immunity, now absorbing carcinogens through sun protection recommended by their oncologists. Kidney patients already struggling with declining function, already on restricted diets and careful fluid management, now processing additional toxins their kidneys can barely handle. The medical vulnerability that made sun protection so important became the reason contamination was so dangerous. The red Walgreens logo symbolized healthcare and safety, professional standards and consumer protection, the assumption that pharmacy chains maintain higher standards than general retailers. What sat inside the canister symbolized corporate neglect and hidden harm, profit over safety, convenience over responsibility, the failure of quality control systems that should have caught contamination before products reached shelves. The continuous spray feature felt modern and easy, innovative even. No rubbing required, just point and spray. The mist felt cool on hot skin, dried quickly without greasiness or residue, seemed to disappear instantly. The experience was pleasant and efficient, perfect for busy seniors who wanted protection without fuss. And with every efficient application, toxins entered your system through skin that absorbed more readily with age. The pharmacy setting created false security, made you believe these products underwent extra scrutiny simply by association with prescription medications and healthcare services, by placement next to blood pressure cuffs and diabetic supplies. The reality was that store-brand sunscreens faced the same manufacturing risks as any other brand, and the pharmacy setting provided no additional protection or oversight. Why do you think the FDA lets sunscreen brands use ingredients and manufacturing processes that lead to carcinogenic contamination? Yet these same chemicals are banned in Europe where regulations are stricter. Why does Europe protect consumers better than American regulators protect us? Share your theories below. The regulatory gap is shocking and reveals something deeply wrong with our system. Now we reach number 2, Banana Boat Kids Sunscreen. Marketed specifically for children and sensitive skin, this seemed like the safest possible choice, the most careful formulation that would undergo the most rigorous testing. The packaging features happy children playing on beaches, building sandcastles, splashing in waves, promises gentle protection for delicate skin. Parents and grandparents buy this believing it represents the highest safety standards, extra scrutiny from regulators, formulations tested and approved for the most vulnerable users, ingredients carefully selected for developing bodies. If it's safe for children with their delicate skin and developing organs, it must be safe for sensitive aging skin, for those with skin conditions like eczema or rosacea, for anyone concerned about reactions and absorption. The children's designation created a powerful halo effect, the assumption that products marketed to kids meet stricter standards, undergo more careful formulation, prioritize safety above all else. But Banana Boat Kids formulas were also flagged for benzene contamination in the same testing that exposed the adult versions. The supposedly gentle, child-safe version contained the same carcinogen as the adult formulas, the same contamination that plagued the entire aerosol line. The kids' marketing provided no protection, no additional safety measures, no stricter quality control. Testing revealed that children's formulations carried the same risks as adult products, that the special marketing claims didn't translate to safer manufacturing. Grandparents buying this for grandchildren they watch on weekends, for beach trips and pool days and backyard play. Seniors with sensitive aging skin choosing gentle formulas marketed as hypoallergenic and pediatrician tested and dermatologist approved were unknowingly choosing toxic exposure disguised as the safest option on the shelf. The kids' designation created a halo effect that made contamination even more shocking and egregious, suggesting superior safety standards and extra caution in formulation and testing. Benzene doesn't discriminate by age or marketing category or target demographic. It penetrates skin regardless of whether the label says kids or adults, whether packaging features cartoon characters or athletic imagery. It circulates in blood, accumulates in bone marrow where blood cells are produced, disrupts the formation of healthy white blood cells and red blood cells. It doesn't just sit on the surface waiting to be washed off. Research from the CDC indicates that benzene exposure through dermal absorption can be significant, especially with repeated applications over time. The chemical penetrates skin, enters capillaries, circulates throughout the body, accumulates in tissues, damages cells at the molecular level. For seniors with weakened immune systems from age-related decline or medications like prednisone or methotrexate, or those recovering from surgery when healing requires optimal cellular function, and any toxin exposure can delay recovery. This kind of exposure can delay healing and increase cancer risk at a time when your body can least afford additional stressors. Post-surgical patients told to avoid sun exposure while incisions heal, diligently applying contaminated protection that their surgeons recommended. The playful packaging with kids playing on the beach, bright colors and cheerful imagery promised protection and innocence, safety and care, the best choice for those you love most. It suggested that choosing kids' sunscreen meant going above and beyond for safety, meant selecting the most carefully formulated option, meant putting protection first. The reality was a betrayal of the most vulnerable consumers, those who trusted most deeply because they believed child-designated products underwent additional safety verification, stricter testing protocols, more careful ingredient selection. The marketing exploited that trust, used children's imagery to sell products that contained the same contamination as adult adult formulas. Don't go yet. The solution comes at the very end, and it could change how you protect your skin forever, could save you from years of toxic exposure, could help you make choices that actually prioritize your health. We'll reveal which ingredients to avoid, which claims to question skeptically, which manufacturing processes create contamination risk, and most importantly, the two brands that actually passed rigorous safety testing from independent laboratories. Your health depends on getting this right. Your skin deserves protection that doesn't poison you. And finally, at number 1, Neutrogena Beach Defense. Another Neutrogena product, this time aimed at serious sun protection for extended outdoor exposure, for people who spend hours in direct sunlight. The name itself suggests extra strength protection, defense against the harshest conditions, armor for your skin during long days in bright sun. The marketing emphasizes all-day coverage for marathon outdoor sessions, durability against sweat and water during active pursuits, protection for active outdoor lifestyles maintained by health-conscious seniors. The professional branding and clinical packaging suggest medical-grade protection, the kind of serious sun defense recommended by dermatologists for high-risk patients. But Beach Defense aerosols were recalled for benzene contamination, just like their other products in the line. The entire aerosol line showed contamination across multiple tests. The pattern was systemic, not isolated to one product or batch or manufacturing facility. The problem appeared embedded in their aerosol manufacturing process or propellant selection. The brand's dermatologist endorsements and clinical reputation made it seem bulletproof, the gold standard in sun protection, trusted by medical professionals who understand skin health at the cellular level. When your dermatologist hands you a recommendation list after your annual skin check, when they emphasize the importance of daily SPF for preventing skin cancer recurrence, Neutrogena often tops that list. That medical association creates powerful trust, the belief that if doctors recommend it after years of medical training, it must be safe. They went to medical school, they understand cellular damage and cancer prevention mechanisms. They wouldn't recommend something unsafe or contaminated. Their recommendation carries the weight of medical authority and expertise. Seniors spending time gardening for hours in full sun exposure, golfing 18 holes without shade in summer heat, or traveling to sunny destinations for extended vacations, trusted this brand for all-day coverage that would protect them during extended exposure. They applied it liberally before going outdoors, reapplied every 2 hours as directed by dermatologists, followed every recommendation perfectly and conscientiously. They did everything right. They followed medical advice precisely. Instead, they got all-day toxin absorption, repeated dosing of carcinogens, with each conscientious reapplication, toxic exposure that increased with compliance. The more carefully you followed directions, the more frequently you reapplied, the more toxic exposure you received. Good behavior became dangerous. For those on blood pressure medication like lisinopril or amlodipine that many seniors take daily, blood thinners such as warfarin or newer anticoagulants like Eliquis that prevent dangerous clotting, or with liver conditions like fatty liver disease that's increasingly common with age and metabolic syndrome, the cumulative effect of repeated benzene exposure over months and years can be devastating to already stressed organ systems. Your liver processes everything absorbed through your skin, everything circulating in your blood. It's already working harder due to age and medications and maybe a bit too much wine over the years. Your liver function naturally declines with age, processes medications more slowly, handles toxins less efficiently. Now add daily benzene exposure from a product you applied religiously for health reasons, following doctor's orders. The metabolic burden increases, the toxic stress compounds, the organ damage accumulates. The sturdy bottle and professional branding screamed medical-grade safety, clinical testing by dermatological experts, dermatologist-approved protection that you could trust implicitly. The packaging design suggested seriousness, reliability, professional standards. The Beach Defense name implied military-grade protection, serious defense for serious sun exposure. What you actually sprayed on was medical-grade betrayal, the trusted brand contaminated by manufacturing failures, the professional recommendation undermined by corporate negligence and inadequate quality control. The dermatologist who recommended it had no idea about the contamination. They trusted the brand based on years of reputation. That trust was misplaced, and patients paid the price through toxic exposure they never consented to, never knew about, never could have detected without independent laboratory testing that most consumers never see. The safe alternatives. After exposing all those dangerous brands, after revealing the contamination that lurks behind familiar labels, you deserve to know what actually works, what's actually safe. What won't betray your trust? We promised solutions, and here they are. Two sunscreen brands that passed rigorous independent testing, that use clean formulations without toxic contaminants, that protect without poisoning. These aren't just marginally better than the contaminated brands. They're in a completely different category of safety and transparency, manufactured with processes that prevent contamination, tested by independent labs that verify purity. The first safe option, Blue Lizard Australian Sunscreen. Trusted by dermatologists who actually verify their recommendations, rigorously tested for contamination by independent laboratories, and free from benzene, oxybenzone, and octinoxate. The brand originated in Australia, where sun protection is taken seriously due to high UV exposure and elevated skin cancer rates that make sun safety critical for survival. Australians understand sun safety isn't just marketing or lifestyle choice, it's life or death. Their country has the highest skin cancer rates in the world, making sun protection a public health priority. They don't mess around with formulations or cut corners on safety. The formulation uses zinc oxide for physical UV blocking, creating a mineral barrier that sits on the skin surface rather than absorbing into the bloodstream like chemical sunscreens. This matters enormously for seniors concerned about systemic absorption and medication interactions and toxic burden on aging organs. The zinc oxide formula reflects and scatters UV rays like a mirror, rather than absorbing them chemically and converting them to heat through molecular reactions. This physical blocking method means fewer concerns about chemical absorption through skin, fewer interactions with medications that could be potentiated or disrupted, fewer worries about toxins entering your circulatory system and stressing your liver and kidneys. For those taking multiple medications that already burden organ function, managing chronic conditions that compromise detoxification capacity, or recovering from illness when every system needs to focus on healing, this mineral-based approach offers protection without the added burden on your liver and kidneys. The zinc oxide just sits there on the surface, doing its job mechanically, requiring no metabolic processing. Blue Lizard underwent testing by independent laboratories and consumer safety organizations that have no financial stake in the results. They passed with results showing no detectable benzene, no concerning levels of any carcinogenic contaminants, no chemical sunscreen ingredients that raise health concerns. The testing verified what the company claimed, proved the formulation delivered on its promises. The brand also features a smart bottle cap that changes color in UV light, a clever indicator that reminds you when sun protection is needed. It's not just marketing gimmick to differentiate the product, it's practical functionality that helps consumers know when UV exposure is high enough to require protection. The cap turns from white to pink or blue in UV light, providing a visual reminder that's especially helpful for seniors whose skin may not register sun damage as readily as younger skin did. Seniors can use it confidently without worrying about carcinogenic chemicals or medication interactions or toxic burden on declining organ function. The formula does leave a slight white cast due to the mineral content, the zinc oxide particles that provide protection. But that visible layer is actually reassurance rather than cosmetic flaw. You can see the protection on your skin. You know it's there, working. There's no invisible absorption of questionable chemicals that you hope are there but can't detect. What you see is what you get. Mineral protection that stays on the surface doing its job without entering your bloodstream, without requiring metabolic processing, without creating toxic burden. The white cast fades somewhat as it dries, becomes less noticeable, but never disappears completely. And that's a good thing. That's visual confirmation of protection. The second recommendation, Think Baby Safe Sunscreen. EWG verified through rigorous testing, reef safe so it won't harm marine ecosystems, and explicitly formulated to avoid harmful chemicals that raise health concerns. The Environmental Working Group maintains strict standards for safety verification that go beyond regulatory minimums. Their testing methodology examines ingredients and contaminants that FDA regulations don't always catch. They test for contaminants like benzene and heavy metals, verify ingredient safety through independent research, and ensure transparency in labeling so consumers know exactly what they're getting. Think Baby earned their verification through testing and ingredient review, which means independent confirmation of safety claims from an organization with no financial interest in the product's success. The brand uses non-nano zinc oxide for broad-spectrum protection without penetration into skin layers where it could potentially enter the bloodstream. Non-nano matters more than most people realize. Regular nanoparticles can be small enough to penetrate skin and potentially enter the bloodstream, raising concerns about systemic exposure and accumulation in organs. Non-nanoparticles are too large to penetrate. They stay on the surface, providing a true physical barrier that reflects UV radiation. This distinction is critical for seniors with compromised skin barriers, whose aged skin might allow more penetration than younger, healthier skin would. Safe for seniors with sensitive skin that reacts to fragrances and chemicals, immune concerns from medications or chronic conditions, or those managing chronic health conditions where every chemical exposure matters. The formula avoids oxybenzone and octinoxate, which have raised concerns about hormone disruption and coral reef damage. It avoids parabens, which act as preservatives but have been detected in breast cancer tissues. It avoids phthalates, which are plasticizers that may disrupt endocrine function. It avoids synthetic fragrances, which can trigger allergies and contain unlisted chemicals. These chemical sunscreen ingredients and additives have raised concerns about hormone disruption, allergic reactions, and environmental accumulation. Think Baby sidesteps all of them with mineral-based protection that's been used safely for decades, that has a long track record of safety without concerning side effects. For seniors taking hormone therapies for various conditions, managing thyroid conditions that require careful hormone balance, or concerned about endocrine disruption from environmental chemicals, this matters significantly. You don't need additional hormone-active chemicals in your daily skincare when you're trying to maintain delicate hormonal balance through medication or aging bodies. The brand started because a parent couldn't find safe sunscreen for a baby, couldn't find a product that met safety standards a concerned parent demanded. That mission drove formulation decisions from day one. They prioritized safety over convenience, chose ingredients based on long-term health rather than cosmetic elegance or quick absorption, and submitted to independent verification rather than just claiming superiority without proof. The result is protection you can trust without question. No betrayal of consumer trust. No hidden contaminants waiting to be discovered by independent testing. No corporate shortcuts that sacrifice safety for profit margins. Just clean mineral protection that does exactly what it promises. Formulated by people who care about long-term health consequences. The formula is thicker than chemical sunscreens, requires more effort to rub in thoroughly, takes longer to apply evenly. It leaves some white cast initially that fades, but never disappears completely. These minor inconveniences are the trade-off for genuine safety and peace of mind. And for seniors who've spent decades applying contaminated products, who've absorbed who knows how many toxins through well-intentioned sun protection, who've trusted brands that betrayed that trust, that trade-off is absolutely worth it. A little extra rubbing time and some white cast seem like trivial concerns compared to avoiding carcinogenic contamination. Don't risk your health on contaminated sunscreen choices, on brands that failed quality control, on products that betray the trust you placed in them. The brands we expose today represent a systemic failure in consumer protection, a betrayal of trust that affects millions of people who believed they were making safe choices. But now you know the truth. Now you can make informed decisions based on independent testing and verified safety rather than marketing claims and brand recognition. Subscribe now, and if you're watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again by hidden health dangers lurking in everyday products. We'll keep investigating, keep exposing, keep protecting you from the hidden dangers that billion-dollar companies would rather you never discovered, would rather sweep under the rug with voluntary recalls and minimal news coverage. Your health is worth it. Your trust deserves protection.